everyone. Welcome to the new MineConnect series. We have today B2B Industrial, Kevin Fitzgerald. You're the VP of Global Sales.
Yes, sir.
We're going to talk a little bit about expanding the business and, of course, your product lines. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Have you got a chance to do a lot of these long ones?
None. Zero.
Oh,
How's
really?
that? We're
Well,
the
this is
first
new.
one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then I'll try not to make it too terrible. We'll get through it. Okay, B2B Industrial. Where are you based out of?
We're based out of Sturgeon Falls, Ontario.
Okay.
So we're about 20 minutes north of North Bay, and about 9,800 kilometers south of Sudbury.
General company overview. What's the general product offering?
B2B has a number of product offerings. Our core products are blasting mats made out of recycled tires.
Okay.
We also make heavy weights for blasting mats. Every one of our products has an animal theme name to it. So we have the Armadillo mat, the gorilla weight, the Rhino mat, the elephant mat, et cetera, et cetera. So on our website, everything is pretty much animal themed.
You know, that's it's not a small thing. It's a big thing. But do you find that actually gets people asking for specific product lines rather than the SP500, 4x4, all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, it actually does. It took us a long time to brand our products so that people would be calling in and asking for a Rhino versus an Armadillo versus a gorilla versus an elephant. And the reason that we changed our branding is that a lot of customers would call in and they'd say, I need a blasting mat, but they wouldn't actually know what they wanted. So the buyers were calling and they didn't know what the tech spec was that they were looking for. So we decided early on that we were going to start rebranding the products from a tire mat, because they're all made out of tires. So all the blasting mats are made out of recycled tires, but we have different brands for different types of mats, and they're all pretty much the same form factor. However, they have different weights, different pressures, different capabilities, and different applications that they can be used in, and not just in blasting. So they definitely are for mining, but they can also be used in other applications.
Yeah, we definitely want to get into the cross sort of your industry reach. Again, into the U.S. and things like that. Just before we go into that, what's your background in the industry? Where do you come from?
So my original background, we partner and myself bought the company about 7 years ago. It was more or less it was a long-standing company in the business. So B2B was developed or incorporated specifically to buy A1 blasting mats. And A1 Blasting Mats was a long-standing company in the industry, developed by Mr. Arkand, who unfortunately had passed away, and his son took over. And when his son had the company for about 12 years, we found didn't really have a passion for it, but he's still a great guy, and we went along and bought the company from him, and then we started going from there.
Right.
So,
Are you? How is the development of the products? I mean to spec. Let's say a mat for a blasting application. How is that tested, set up? Well, you've got the product branded, so let's give me. What's an example of a product brand that would be for that application?
Well, product brand is one of them is the Armadillo. That's probably our most common product that we sell today. And the Armadillo mat is made out of tire pieces and treads. And we have a patent on our products. We use the Armadillo in many types of applications, we don't, our clients do.
Right.
And they specifically use them in a lot of cases for construction applications where they're building roads or where they are blasting in a mine or an open pit. They're a lot more flexible than a Rhino mat, for example. A Rhino mat's made out of treads, and Rhino mat is made out of tractor-trailer treads. It's about 50% heavier. Doesn't mean it's going to last longer, but it's 50% heavier. So customers may not know the difference between an Armadillo that's built with 2,000 PSI versus a Rhino that's built with 800 PSI, and why you may want an Armadillo versus a Rhino, for example. So,
right, and so even the branding of it, the Armadillo is that it's a smaller one with like a protective. It's still tough, but a smaller unit.
Yeah.
I saw one called, and I put it down here, Manta. I didn't actually. Sorry, Rory and you put it together.
Yeah.
Manta Mat, and it's sort of a unique product, because it's a lighter design.
Yeah. So a Manta Mat is we originally started building Manta Mats about 2 years ago. We got a request from a customer in Mexico, and they wanted a light version of the mat because they were using a lower velocity explosive versus ANFO, for example. And the lower velocity explosive doesn't need as much weight to hold down the fly rock. They were also utilizing the Manta Mat product that we ended up building for road access, so they could lay it down and build a road with it very easily. It's a lot lighter. The original version is about 1,100 kgs, 2,200 pounds in the U.S. market. So what we did was we built a lighter mat. These other mats, the Armadillo is about 2.4 metric tons. The Rhino is about 3.75 metric tons. So you're looking at, trucking down to the U.S. from our location, you want to get as much coverage as you can. So if you can...
As light as you can.
As light as you can, but still provide the proper and adequate protection for the client, right?
How are they tested?
Well, they're tested effectively in the field, right?
Right, yeah.
So we don't test them in our yard. We just build them to the spec for the weight, and we make sure that we secure things properly, and then off they go.
Well, it's kind of a unique product. We'll bring it up on the screen, but just for I was expecting a rubber mat. This is different. So am I looking at it? Which way does it go? Is this it?
Well, yeah, it can be used in different orientations. So you can use a mat and lay it flat on top of.
This is flat though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. This is just a model, right? A 3D printed model.
Right.
So it's made out of plastic, but
this would be rubberized.
It would be rubber, and the mats are laid down on top of the blasts. Underground, though, in an underground environment, you could also be using a mat in a vertical application where you put it and hang it along the walls, or you hang it in front of the face where they're going to blast, so that all the material doesn't come back and damage equipment, etc., that may be on the walls.
Right.
And that is another place where the Manta Mat can excel.
So is this a model of the Manta?
No, that's an Armadillo.
That's an Armadillo. Okay.
That's an Armadillo, and then this one here is a Rhino mat. So the Rhino mat.
Oh, I see. So that one, this is rubber sort of compact together, whereas this has got these curvatures. Is this right? The accurate thickness and everything?
Yeah, this is actually designed to scale. So it would be 10 feet wide by 15 feet long.
Right.
So that's the form factor. So whenever we print them, if we print them, we print them to scale.
Okay.
Anyway, it was designed so that we could bring them to the show, right? Because it's kind of hard to bring a 10 by 15 mat here.
But is this saving on material? What is making this lighter?
The reason that the Armadillo is a lighter mat than the Rhino mat is that the Rhino mat treads weigh approximately 25 kilos per tread, whereas a row of Armadillo pieces or tire pieces would probably weigh, the equivalent thickness would probably weigh about half of that,
right, and
or 2/3 of that.
And depending on the application, you can spec it for their use.
Right, and we can compress them more so that we get a denser mat, and we get different densities throughout the mat as well. So we could have a 50% higher density in the center of the mat than we would on the ends of the mats.
Oh, I see.
So we have variable density throughout
going back
the mat.
Just trying to lighten the shipping if you're trying to get it across country or across the US.
Or even the application. So, one of the applications, and the reason we came about our patent for the U.S. and Canada about 4 years ago is that we had a request from one of the U.S. military bases to build a product that would allow them to detonate ordnances that were, according to what we were told, lobbed back and forth, and then they'd end up maybe not detonating, and they'd be 6 feet underground.
Right.
So they then needed to drill a horizontal borehole to the ordnance to allow them to detonate the ordnance.
Wow. All right.
And what they wanted to make sure of was that there was no blowback that came out of that borehole.
Right.
And so they wanted a mat that would stand up vertically instead of horizontally, that was light enough that they could move it around,
right,
and that they could handle it with light equipment, which the Rhino would not accommodate, right? Yeah. And so we designed a variable density product so that we had very high density in the center of the mat versus on the sides of the mat to minimize the weight, but maximize the impact protection, right, or the throughput.
That's sort of an interesting little side thing working with military.
Yeah.
Well, I guess going back to so mining is your primary, but are you trying to push into some of these other industries? I mean, construction there must be a lot of opportunity there.
Yeah. So mining and construction are our core businesses today. Military is definitely an application for us.
Yeah.
There's also, forestry can be part of that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Because you can use the mats in the forestry industry. In the shipping industry, our mats are being used to put the mats up vertically along the docks, wrap the docks so that ships don't damage them. We have other products as well, not just blasting mats, but we have other products for the shipping industry, large fenders that we've designed so that ships don't, rub up against the docks, cruise ships and things like that.
Is you mentioned patenting. Do you patent all your products, or try to patent all your products?
Yeah, all of our blasting mats all of our branded blasting mats are patented, every single one of them. So the Manta Mat is a different type of a product than the Armadillo, Rhino, Chameleon, Elephant. So it has its own patent on it.
Yeah.
And it's because it's a lightweight product. It's just that patent actually just came out. We just received that in February.
Yeah. How important is it? There must be some. Obviously, there's competition in the. Not important. That's actually not what I was asking. What I wanted to ask was about getting into these other industries that you're already in, but I'm watching you here. A lot of people know who you are. You get a lot of connections out of the mining industry, being from Ontario and everything like that. How do you sort of approach getting into there's obviously demand for your product. People need it.
Yeah.
How do you sort of reach out and make those connections across industries? Because you can be so broad,
right?
Your product line.
Well, we had to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So when we started, part of the vision of the company is to take the company from a legacy type manufacturing organization to a fully integrated data organization, right, with IP. And if we don't have IP, we're just like the next guy, right? Mm-hmm. What are we doing? We're not going to bring the value to our customer if we don't have IP. We're not going to protect our, we have no moat, right, around us. So it took us a long time to do that. We kind of got delayed a little bit with COVID, obviously. Just a little, 3 years. So, that's the whole point about having the patents. We want patents on products that we believe have high value for the future. I think there's a lot of other things that we can do with these products, and we specifically want them to become a data point in the mining, construction, etc.
So who ends up being who's the product? Who's the buyer? Is it a construction company? Is it an operating mine? Like, do OEMs? Do you have any dealings with them?
Not yet. We don't have anything with OEMs yet. Absolutely, OEMs. Hopefully OEMs are going to watch this,
right? Okay.
And they can give us a call. We'd be very happy to talk to them.
Where would they fit?
They would fit in many situations. I mean, if I use one as an example, CAT, for example, could use our products for accessing job sites or making roads on job sites where they don't need to go in and put down a competitor's product made out of wood.
Right.
Because wood tends to get ripped up and torn apart, etc. And rubber lasts a long time. Depends on who needs that product and what they're doing. Yeah. So you make a temporary access road, you can make them out of Rhino mats or a version of that, a Chameleon, which is a hybrid of the Rhino and the Armadillo. And that way you have a temporary road, you use it for 2 months, 3 months, whatever you need it for, and then you pull it up and you bring it to the next job site. Where in the case of a wooden product, you may have to, it's completely destroyed, right? Because you have metal tracks that are ripping up the wood.
It would seem it would be the wood might be a little more difficult to deal with as well, lay down and set up.
I think wood's pretty quick. Got nothing against the product. I just think that we're a lot more recyclable. The ESG solution is a lot better for us.
That was actually just what I was going to ask about. Is on the ESG side, is that something attractive now because these are recycled product lines, right?
Yes, well, they should be, I would expect. Not all of the companies are looking at that right now. When they're buying, they're looking at solving a problem, right? Mm-hmm. So they've come out and they're asking us for blasting mats, maybe for blasting, maybe for a road. And the thing is that when they ask those questions, it's more along because they need them immediately. There was either not a lot of planning that happened, or they forgot.
Yeah.
In some cases, or they just need them, and that they need them in 6 weeks from now or 8 weeks from now,
Yeah.
and so then they put in the order, but they're not looking at the ESG component.
Did you during COVID and then still now with these supply chains, because you're on the recycled side, has that given you a bit of a supply chain advantage? Actually, have you run into those struggles coming out of COVID?
There's depending on what part of the components are, the different parts of the materials that are in the mats.
Yeah.
There could be restriction in the past on getting product. I think today we're
getting
okay.
better.
We're kind of coming out of that now.
Yeah. And then how much focus do you put on markets like the U.S.? I mean, I know even for our talk shows, I mean, Canada got us started, but
Right.
the U.S., it's just a different animal. It's just so big.
Yeah, the U.S. market is very big, and for the Armadillo mats and the Rhino mats, the Western Seaboard for us is expensive for the client, right? Because you're shipping, so we have to have cost-effective shipping options for them, because today we're only in Ontario. Now, obviously, it makes sense for us to be in the Western Seaboard or the Nevada area, and that's primarily one of the reasons why we want to get there, as well as on the Eastern Seaboard.
Is that an area like Nevada? Is that a pretty good area for you?
I think it would be great.
Yeah. So that's a big focus.
Yes.
Just going into the scale size. So like, would the Rhino be bigger, or have you got asked to do even something bigger than you typically would punch out?
Yeah. So we make the next level up for us is an elephant mat. The Rhino mat weighs around 50 pounds per square foot.
That's pretty heavy.
Yeah, it's heavy.
Yeah.
And then the elephant is about 75 to maybe 80. And depending on how much you compress them, you may get a little bit more density into the mat. So the idea is that once you build...
So is density eliminating flex in certain grounds? Is that, or is it just holding up more?
The density in a Rhino mat would definitely eliminate flex, because it's almost like as hard as a board, right?
Right. Yeah.
I'm not going to say it'll stand out straight like a board, but it's heavy, and it does not move very much.
So what would be going on something like the elephant? What kind is it equipment? Is it the equipment that dictates what is going to be laid down, or is it the ground underneath that's dictating it?
Okay, so the elephant, we don't sell too many elephants because they're just so heavy.
Right. Yeah.
You can't put too many of them on a truck.
Yeah.
So what we did design, though, is we designed a solution to hold heavy equipment. Mm-hmm. And what we did was we took our patent and we modified our patent by enhancing the cable patterns inside of the mat, and then the way that it was actually constructed. So that allowed us, and we tested this, of course, and this allows us to hold up to 6 million pound monopiles, which are very, very heavy, obviously.
Whoa. Wow.
And up to 300-400 feet long and 30 feet high.
Wow.
So it's a completely different application than blasting, right? This is we called it actually extra heavy duty Rhino, but it's really just a hybrid product,
Right.
with additional strength added.
I've seen you out on the show floor. I've just kind of when I do these live events, we kind of go around, Gowdy and I go and scope the setups and everything, and I just kind of watch how people interact with the guests and just trying to get a sense of how I should approach the interview. And I noticed you talk to a lot of people. There's some people, they sit here, they're looking at their phone half the show. I mean, it just is what it is.
Yeah.
You're very engaged. Where's sort of your passion for? Is it the business side? Is it product development? What sort of gets you excited in this whole thing of B2B?
Well, what I really love about B2B and about the products, etc., is that we're building something that really helps our customers to keep them safe, right? So, I would not want to be a guy out in the field, for example. I just try to put myself in the customer's place, right? If I was a drilling and blasting guy, I want to know that the mat that I'm putting on top of a blast is going to stop the fly rock that's coming out at whatever velocity is, 5,000 meters a second, whatever, I don't need to get hit by something if I'm a guy out there. So I want to make sure that as a company, we build the best stuff that we can. And our guys are really good. Like I really, truly believe we have the absolute best product in the world. And, you know, I'm kind of bragging here, but I really do believe that. Yeah. And so I get kind of pumped up about that. I love the idea that we're taking a legacy type manufacturing business and we're bringing it into the real, you know, to the data world, right? Which is where everything is moving. Right. But we're still supplying a legacy product. You still need this. Yeah. So, you know, I don't know any other way to say it, but you know, it's like toilet paper, right? I call it toilet paper. It's not toilet paper, but everybody needs it. Everybody needs it, yeah. And we need these mats in the mining environment. We need different versions of the mats in the mining environment. You know, in underground, you don't want a 3 metric ton mat underground because it's a pain to move around for the guys, right? Yeah. I mean, I worked underground as a kid. I know what it's like.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, it could be really tight areas. And, you know, how do you move something that weighs 3 tons around that flops? Right, yeah. You know, you need something light, and that's why we developed a different product. But we knew that from experience, right? From being a kid and seeing guys working and how tough it is to move stuff underground. And if you're a miner, you know, and you're working in tunnels, you don't want stuff that's not made right. You know, you want to be safe. And we come from an area, you know, I'm from Sudbury, and Sudbury's really big on safety. And the guys work safe. Everyone works safe. We want our guys to work safe. We don't want anyone getting hurt. You know, so it kind of translates through into the product line, right? Yeah. You grew up that way. We grew up like that. So that's where I get that from, I think.
What's next year, next 2 years? Is it expansion into markets like the U.S., specific sectors? Is it product development, or all three? What's sort of the look?
Yeah, it's kind of, I think of it like the Wankel engine, right? You kind of have to have things going all the time, right? So when one's firing, the other one isn't, and then it turns, and then it fires, and it keeps going. So we have to keep product development going. We have to keep going after new markets, and we have to keep our core market supported. Yeah. But definitely the U.S. is, to me, a big deal, because we have customers in the U.S. that are, you know, they ask us different questions because they have different requirements, and that's where we learn, right? We learn every day. It's actually amazing. Our guys come up with some really cool things, and, you know, I don't build these, right? Right. I try to give my vision to what I'd like to see, and my partner gives his vision, and then everybody makes it happen. Yeah. So it's not just me, you know, it's the whole team, right? Yeah. Yeah. Well, I get the pleasure of being here, right, and talking to you guys. But
those are like the guys who make shit happen. I sit here and do these. Yeah, no, that's good. Oh, it's okay. It's similar. You do these interviews, and a lot of people don't see the work of the production, the lighting, the sound, you know, the editing, and all the stuff that goes into it. Yeah, I'm glad you came on the show. Is there anything that we missed covering? You got quite a few product lines. Yes. I guess just to wrap up, actually. So what, you said it already, but I just want to confirm. What is your sort of top, let's say your top 3 products. What's the products that you're going to move the most?
I'd say today, the Armadillo mat, then a chameleon mat, which is a hybrid of the Rhino and the Armadillo, and then the Manta.
And the Manta.
Those are probably our top 3. Yeah. In the blasting mat type mat environment. The next, I'm going to just keep yapping here for you. The next one would be, I think, the Gorilla Weight. Gorilla Weight is just a very heavy tire that we've designed to sit on top of mats, so that if guys need extra weight, why should you buy a mat when you can buy, you know, just buy a weight and sit that weight on top? Got it. It's very safe. It's not going to go rolling away or anything like that.
So that gets packaged with the other mat.
Yeah. And so, you know, and it's a lot less expensive as well for the guys, right? So they can accomplish the same goal without having to spend as much money. Right. So, you know, those are the 4 products that we're looking at focusing on. But we're also going to be integrating probably in 2 weeks. We'll have a notification out to all the clients. You know, track all your mats. They're going to be able to GPS track every single mat for ESG purposes.
Oh, you are working on that.
Well, we've got that solved. That's done. So what we need to do now is just get them the, you know, what's going to cost them, build it right into the mat. The other thing is we have 5-year warranties on our mat. Now I'm into sales mode, right?
Yeah, no, it's anybody who's still watching at the very end, you can go full on.
Okay. Yeah, so we're looking to make sure that customers get have 5-year warranty. We have licensing on our products so that they get benefits from licensing. So that's why again we're going to the data model, right? So that they are only paying a monthly fee to get their mats. And
oh, I see. Oh, I got you. Oh, so
So-
they're kind of like a leasing type model. Yeah.
So they can lease the product from us as well.
Yeah.
And they can we call it a refresh. They can also refresh their product if it gets damaged, and they get new product.
Great.
So it's really hard to beat. It's kind of like getting a new car. I have
Yeah.
a 5-year lease, but I can get 2 new cars out of it.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. Kevin, thank you so much for doing the
Thank
first interview of MineConnect USA.
Let's hope it works.
It's going to work. A lot of
Good.
people are going to watch and they're going to enjoy it. Thanks a lot, Kevin.
Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
Take care. Okay, thank you, everybody. We've got plenty more episodes coming at you, so keep watching, sharing, and hey, if you're looking to get on the show, maybe reach out to us. Let us know.
Can I interject with one thing?
Yes.
Built to blast. Check out the tag, Built to Blast, right?
Oh, the whole.
Hashtag, guys. Come on.
I've been blocking it the whole time. It's supposed to be back there. So, built to blast. See you on the next episode of MineConnect USA.
Thank you, guys.